This is your spoiler warning for the World 2025 quarterfinals. This video covers the best of 5 series between LPL Seed 2 Anyone's Legend and reigning world champions LCK Seed 4 T1. And let me tell you, this is by far the best series we've had this entire tournament. Let's jump into the gameplay, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Now, this might be a peculiar time to skip to, almost 15 minutes into the first game. Well, that's because absolutely nothing has happened other than some objectives. That is, until T1 tries to take their second dragon, and I hope Baus is taking notes from Doran.
Faker joins up with everybody. It's a 5v5. They go in immediately as Doran tries to lead the charge with a flash estimating smash, but he's only going to be beat down himself. A lot of damage to Doran, but he is not down. Carry into the back line. The major engage from T1. Tarzan finds a supreme display of talent and making a 1-for-1 so far, but T1 have the health bars. Faker rides the Weaver's wall as Carry is about to die into the back line, but Kyle falls. Tarzan falls. T1, they'll lose Carrier as Gumayusi fights back, and Shanks is on the run. Faker and Guma looking for a little bit more with a piercing arrow going over the wall, and Faker's ready to flash. Another rock is thrown, and Shanks is buried.
This was just a beautiful setup from T1, holding their space until a double multi-knockup from Doran allows Carrier to chain his CC. That was only the first fight of this series, and it's already been sick to watch. Next up, the AL bot lane looks to be contesting vision in preemption for Atakan, but in just one beautiful bait we see from Carrier this series, he immediately engages on an opening.
Around it very early on. Again, the flashes will be critical here.
Oh, Hope goes forward, but immediately Carrier is ready to try to respond here with the grand entrance. Hope tries to get over the wall. He sidesteps the seismic shot, but the damage from Owner is way too much. A big mistake from AL, and a bigger punish from T1. Tarzan goes in! Supreme display of talent under 3, but there is no follow-up. Tarzan has to try to flash away. Owner goes after him, but now he's trapped. Shanks with a little bit more damage, kills off the T1 jungler. The realm warp's ready to go in, and Shanks wants another. The arrows fly out as Doran charges in. Shanks with a flash to the side to avoid the engage coming out from T1's top laner. Doran's gonna try to run. Another arrow flies out from Gumayusi as now Carrier's got to be careful as he battle dances in and out of the fight.
Again, another super close fight despite T1 clearly off to an advantageous start, picking off Hope immediately and claiming his summoners. AL did super well to redeem there. After another period of stagnation, both teams claim a key objective using tempo swings. Atakan to AL and Dragon to T1, which puts them at Soul Point. And speaking of Soul Point, who's flanking who here, Flandre?
Half HP still going to use Redemption early here for AL just to make sure the health bars stay topped off. Flandra marked on the side, seismic shove onto the AL top laner. Chain CC on the Flandra, he's already down. T1 have found the pick. Supreme display of talent, tries to hold the line, but into the back line goes Owner. Hope is being chased, Tarzan's being killed. Anyone's Legend is being crushed as Shanks tries to fight back in a 1v4, but he'll get nothing but an epitaph as T1 kill 4 and take Soul.
T1 go fishing and they find Flandra.
As T1 begin to siege bot lane with their Baron, obviously sticking to the side Elder will spawn on, AL still aren't done defending. And honestly, a 4k gold gap with this game state still means anyone is in it.
I'd hope, but do they know AL are in the bush?
AL trying to set some kind of a trap. They know a fair fight doesn't favor them any longer. Kyle gonna be trapped on the wrong side of the Weaver's wall. Seismic shove connects onto Shanks, who immediately goes golden. But it's gonna be a 2-for-1 deal. Supreme display of talent at least takes Carry out in the process. But T1 have still won the fight. They're gonna keep pushing forward. They've got the Baron, they've got the Soul, they've got the enemy tier 1 turret down. They've got Owner diving into the back line. But the escape is there.
After T1 crack AL's top inhibitor, looking to polarize the pressure they generate with Elder spawning, AL are forced to attend. But they're on a timer, because those super minions are already at tier 2, and with triple TP up for T1, this fight is game deciding.
Up with the rest of the team after purchasing the Crypt Bloom. AL starting up the Elder Dragon now. T1 watching on, waiting for the rest of the team to approach. Elder Dragon down to about 1/2 HP. Hope taking a chunk of damage. Doran charging in. Weaver's wall over the top. Kyle's gonna be caught. A ton of burst onto the support of Anyone's Legend, and he's already down. T1 charge forward. Double kill to Gumayusi. Pressure onto Tarzan. Triple kill Guma. AL are cut to pieces, and T1 holds the sword. Flandra's last to die, and ace for T1.
Already off to a banger start. I mean, if you were watching the whole game, there were definitely some slow points, but from a highlights perspective, yeah, it was sick. And it really looks like all 10 players have shown up today. With that, let's jump into game 2. So Kuma's obviously been watching Doggo because this is some Draven aggression. Also, can you imagine if that was Tyler 1? It'd be T1. Anyway.
Coming down for the Wukong level 3 gank potential here in the bottom lane. Keria goes in with the dredge line. A lot of damage onto Kyle. He flashes away. Goyushi flashes after. One more spinning axe is going to do it, but no! Hope denies it as Keria has to flash over the wall to escape.
Only a couple minutes later, we already have 2 separate plays happening in the solo lanes. Again, this game is looking to be another close one.
Trying to time this so Owner can be in position right as the wave is ready to crash. They don't want to allow Flandre to try to clear this out. Canamini going to absorb it here with a start. Wind becomes lightning. Flandre with a flash away. Doran going to burn him down, but he needs a little bit more damage with the flame spitter. The turret was so heated up, it makes it a 1-for-1.
Some of the shortcomings in the experience he had, but Flandre has hit level 6, eyeing up Faker on the Anivia in this mid-wave.
He's looking for that public execution, and he finds it. Faker gets jumped on. Flandre going in, trying to proc the rebirth, and they get it. They've scrambled the egg, and there's the feat of warfare for anyone's legend.
Oh, Doran, that looked so good, bro. Unfortunately, you can't buy Serpent's Fang on Rumble. Bad luck, nice try. Oh wait, World's Buff sniping professional FaZe Guma still exists.
Saw it right there. Hope's boomerang blade, his ricochet, bouncing through the wave to stop Gumayushi's back as Doran goes in from a ton of damage here with a Flandre. The public execution plus the flash to try to get away. Flash Electro Harpoon coming out. No! It's Flandre with reinforcement from Shanks for the shield, for the outplay to stop Doran in his tracks. Wait a sec! Makes it a 1-for-1. Gumayushi from all the way across the map strikes true.
Now, I don't know why this fight happens really. I think AL just wanted to contest Dragon, but then burned ults and overstayed. So, Doran TP's in for some revenge. I think that was the plan anyway.
AL, they need to be careful.
Yeah, AL's got to be careful here. Kyle gonna have a nice keeper's verdict to make the fight unfair. Keria is your first target. His owner wants to go in after Kyle now. Loses half his HP. Boomerang blade takes Keria down to 150. Faker making his way forward, but T1's not gonna find anybody. They also
Doran's
using
in behind.
the teleport now. Doran coming up behind him. The Rumble's already arrived into the fight as Tarzan tries to find some damage onto Faker. Shanks looking to cut him off. The egg, again the rebirth is triggered as Flandre's made his way into the fight and Gumayushi goes back over the wall. Tarzan kills Faker, and T1 is on the run. Keria dredge lines back to safety as Shanks dives in beside Kyle. A double kill for Tarzan, and the Draven is dead again.
With Herald spawning, both teams look to control vision in River, but at Worlds, incorrectly using even one spell means you're gonna get engaged on.
If they want to try and make a play in T1, trying to scope out the area as that goes.
Yeah, Keria jumps in here with the dredge line, finds Tarzan, but to no avail. Kyle jumps in with the point-blank keeper's verdict. Shanks has arrived. They're looking at Gumayushi, and they find the taunt. Guma's already down. T1 are routed as they try to escape from the pit. Keria now focused, forced back again by Flandre.
Now in theory, this was a good attempt from Flandre. Mbessa ult is a weird one to hit, but despite reacting to the AL ambush, they're still able to compensate with a pick for themselves elsewhere.
Have to be very careful about their positioning. Faker himself a little worried about his positioning.
Yeah, he's getting caught out here by Flandre. Public execution, though, not lined up
TPs are
correctly.
coming.
Now Flandre has to flash away. T1 committing to look to find the kill onto the Mbessa. Owner goes after it, needs the third talent strike, and Doran's damage is enough, but off to the side at the same time. Hope is going in. It's another kill traded back as Gumayushi dies once more. Anyone's legend. They want a second, and they'll find it. A double kill to Hope as T1 reinforcements are coming in, but they're a little too slow.
It looks to be AL in the driver's seat at the 20th minute in the game, but T1 somehow just kleptomancy gold into existence and are only trailing by 1500. And a decisive call on Atakan means experience is now on their side, but it doesn't come without a cost.
Lead for anyone's legend, but nobody's here just yet. Otacon already down to 5,000 HP. Tarzan goes in for the Cyclone. Shanks ready to arrive with a grand entrance. Tarzan's low, and the Whirling Death's gonna find the execution. T1 still fighting back as the Otacon is slain by Owner, but he dies in the middle of the fight. Public execution finds no target. Gumayushi on the run. Hope, Flandre, and Kyle still looking for a little bit more.
AL send 5 to contest T1's blue buff, but I don't know if fighting in chokes versus an Anivia and a Rumble is a very good idea.
1,000 individual gold lead for Hope as the 80 carry here with a Sivir. They're moving into the enemy jungle now, and Kyle again just slams Owner into the wall, but now he's in danger. Tarzan and Kyle both so low, it's 2 dead on the AL side, but Hope is still alive. Faker flashes back over the wall, but Shanks is burning. Flandre caught in the middle of everyone. Anyone's legend have overplayed their hand, and T1 is ready to punish. Hope should be next to die, and Guma cashes in. Only Shanks still stands. That could have been the the entire game. A dredge line from Carrier, and Owner is ready to follow up. The win becomes lightning and strikes Shanks down.
With a very clean fight from T1, our attention turns to Dragon number 4, and because it's the 25th minute, the victor will also claim a Baron buff. And I couldn't tell who was winning this fight for the longest time.
Approach, Tarzan wants to flank and he flashes over the wall. Now Faker's gonna try to get away. Hero's entrance, knocks up 3. T1 trying to scramble. The damage comes down and Flandra flashes back over the wall as Owner's first to die. T1 on the run. Kyle wants a wall slam, but he can't quite find it. Hope goes in for Goma, and he cuts him down. AL, 2-0 in the fight.
Their favor. That fight, that flash from Tarzan, the TPs though.
Faker jumping into a spot that he should not be. He doesn't get slammed to the wall, but he's far back enough that he cannot stay alive. Hope runs after Doran. The auto attacks cutting through the rumble. A little bit more is needed, and a little bit more will be found. Carrier presents himself on a silver platter, and it's AL eating good.
With AL taking their Baron buff and opening T1's top and mid inhib, the siege begins on their bot lane, and the pressure is on T1 to defend.
Of those super minions, everybody else groups up to defend the only remaining tier 3 turret, but over the wall goes Tarzan. Faker's got to try to stay safe into the back line. Public execution onto Faker. Redemption's not there in time. The egg has already been procced, but he will not be reborn. A kill onto Owner follows. AL's already found 2, and they want Gumayushi. Doran and Carrier will be next to die as T1 are wiped off of Summoner's Rift. Anyone's legend with a clean ace.
Close in some points, but eventually taking the way of AL in the end. We enter game 3 at a 1-1. Let's see if T1 can compose themselves and AL can carry their momentum forward. With Dragon up, Faker looks to lay some vision, but AL lies in wait and first blood is served.
As well, and Faker is getting dangerous.
Yeah, Faker walks too close to the brush. The deadly flourish right after the EQ coming in from Tarzan. Faker still on the run. AL thinking about going further. There's your fate sealed. Shanks goes in. First blood over to Hope.
This fight for Dragon number 2 is explosive. A common theme in all of these games is I can't tell who's winning for a long time, and this fight is no different.
T1 starting up the Drake, have it down to half HP. Kyle, Tempered Fate, trying to save his jungler. Tarzan survives for now, but T1 is bringing everybody to the show. Doran in the middle of the Cataclysm. The stolen Tempered Fate. Tarzan's already down. Kyle's about to die. T1's found 2. Shanks is in the middle of everybody, and he has to try to get away. He wants to charge Q3. He gets over the wall for now. Anyone's legend has already lost their jungler and their support. The 2 that they need to make the plays are dead in the dirt.
With Herald on the map, both teams corral mid to set up a contest. Guma's looking a bit shaky on this Ziggs pick.
Doesn't have the support there, but in mid lane.
Yep, we're right back to live, and it's Gumayushi. Already used the satchel, sidesteps the deadly flourish. Tarzan steps forward, and Hope's got the killing bullet. Jumps in, but he doesn't find the opportunity here just yet. Tempered Fate, no target. Gumayushi getting away. Caught up here with the deadly flourish. The shots fire out. The curtain is called, and Gumayushi is cold as T1 lose their bottom lane carry.
A spot of stagnation takes us to Atakan at the 22nd minute, and AL are preempting Carrier's scout. The trap is triggered.
Gonna try and look for the reset though, because he's completely out of wards. Carrier's been doing a great job of keeping that pressure there, and off the back of a T1 looking to invade, knowing that Kyle is going to be lacking on the vision.
Doran going in, wants the 1v1 against Shanks. The Cassante is all out. Shanks fighting back, sidesteps the third and Tofo strike. Got a little dicey there at the end. Yeah, it's the 2-item power spike on everybody that's not a support, for everybody except for Faker. Tempered Fate, no target connection there, but AL is going all the way in. They want Gumayushi, who already gets away, so they're going to switch over to Carrier now instead. Owner trying to fight back as Shanks is in the middle of everybody. He snaps back. Carrier dies first. Immortal Shield go keep Shanks alive as AL are now continuing to retreat. Kyle and Shanks very low. T1 goes forward. Tarzan with a dunk, but he's only going to seal his own fate. Gumayushi barely holding on, but he burns down. Faker with a kill on Tarzan. Owner chases Hope. The Jhin getting away for now as T1 have lost their bottom lane, but they've killed 3 in response. Faker after Flandra, who has to flash away. Owner flashes to try to catch him with a ball breaker. Flandra needs more distance, but he cannot find it. Abscond, abduct.
Again, super close game state, but with Baron on the map, both teams are hungry for control. And in this next play, both supports flex some nice mechanics onto Tarzan.
Super deep vision down. Carrier here trying to find some sort of pocket of Fog of War to find a very big hook. Maybe get an early summoner spell.
Okay, knocks Tarzan up into the air. Tempered Fate onto Tarzan to try to keep him safe a little bit longer here, and he does manage to buffer through the CC. Now Flandra putting some pain onto the T1 lines, but no! It's Owner going in, they lock up Flandra, they beat him down! Owner's on a killing spree, and that's -1 for AL. T1 find the pick, and then they immediately evacuate.
Because of Spellbook on KL, Faker is chased down topside and a pick looks to be made. But between Bardolt, Zhonya's, and Bardolt, that's a lot of time to stall. Also, check out the footwork from Flandre.
Soul fight is coming, but if Faker can't get away, this could be very problematic.
Yeah, Flash immediately into the binding, Tempered Fate right after. Faker trying to get away, goes Golden to buy himself an extra second. Through the wall they go, Tempered Fate from Faker, keeping himself alive as Doran's into the back line. Hope is under pressure, Faker's still alive for now. Hope gonna be cut down. Doran going in and Faker's already cut down first. Hope next to die. It's a 1-for-1. AL's in the middle of everybody as Tarzan has to try to get away, and Carrier's gonna be focused, but he finds a pull over the wall beforehand. Flandra pulled in, but Doran shut down. Gumayushi over the wall with another satchel as Tarzan wants to find a little bit more, but he dies. Gumayushi and Owner working together as Guma dies to Shanks. Owner wants another. Flandra needs to get away, and he hops between worlds. Owner can't chase him down. Flandra gets back over the wall, and Shanks is ready to flash. Owner will get knocked into the Guardian Angel. Carrie is the only one left alive, and that Guardian Angel will not hear the prayers of T1.
Forcing T1 to check on the Baron, and immediate engage is pulled by L. And holy Shanks.
With the teleport ready to join up as immediately the engage comes out from Tarzan. The target is Carrier. The Shanks seals finds everybody. Thanks to the back line as Gumayushi tries to get away. He's scattered, but he's knocked down by Tarzan. Faker scrambling as Kyle and Hope chase after him. Doran's going to be the next target, and anyone's legend have forced the world champions back.
But next up is Elder, and if there's anything that beats Baron buff, it's Elder buff.
Tarzan, they were up for Shanks. AL, such an advantage.
T1 trying to approach. Doran's going to be the point man, trying to make his way in there as Gumayushi continues to throw bouncing bombs. Elder Dragon down to 3,000. Fate Seal cuts through, but the stasis is going to lock everybody up. Tarzan's going to be your focus. Mega Inferno Bomb over the top of the Elder is secured by anyone's legend, and they're continuing the fight. Faker is about to be executed as Doran falls too. Anyone's legend is murdering T1. Curtain call fires out. Most of the bullets won't find their target, but they won't need to. Versus AL, they have to try to distract. Owner jumps into the middle of everyone, but the Elder Dragon will roar with the might of China as anyone's legend forces T1 to match point.
Off to a slower start for Game 4, T1 send numbers topside for Grubs. But before Grubs, why not have a go at the defending AL bot lane?
Don't know Doran's here.
Yeah, Doran's still there. The call of the Forge God. The paranoia over the top. Hope tries to get away with the flash, but he's still caught up in the fear. He waits to use the cleanse. Hope locked up by the Ornn, but he gets enough distance. AL staying alive for now. Kyle and Hope both get away. T1 goes in. Gumayushi with a killer instinct, but Hope still lives underneath the turret. Doran's going in with a bellows breath, and it's first blood over to Carrier. Kyle tries to counterattack with Zenith Blade, but he does not have what he needs. Doran now the target. Shanks doesn't hit him with a chain. He's got to try to get away as Tarzan wants to kill Doran. Shanks still in the back part of the fight. Tarzan with a 3-man impale. T1 still trying to fight as Faker arrives in. Shanks down to 150, and the blooming burst from Carrier gets him.
Up next is Herald at the 17th minute, but with only a 2.7k gold gap, this fight could go either way.
Tier 1 turret in the bottom lane. Shanks still has a TP, but he's held in mid by Faker because of the wave clear of the Victor. Faker went in the trade against Shanks as Tarzan trades with Carrier and Gumayushi. T1 with control over the Herald as AL approach. Flandra's going to look for a target, potentially here for the Death Realm. Herald down to 4k. Claw hits 2, but Flandra can't get any closer. Owner wants to take the objective. Paranoia's already gone out. Herald secured by Owner as the Ornhorn comes in, but only finds one. Carrier locks up Hope. Gumayushi into the back line, and the AL AD carries already down. Owner tries to flash away. Doran in the middle of everybody, but Flandra barely stays alive. He should surely die right after the shield falls, and Owner kills him. Kyle's on the run. T1's on the hunt. Everybody on AL's dropping, and T1 are absolutely demolishing the LPL team. Tarzan tries to dig through the wall. He'll barely escape.
Now, I have to point out, did anyone see that Giga Brain play from Carrier? He used Nico's clone from Owner to bait AL forward, which then allowed him to get a successful ult off. Thinking of a play like this in the heat of a Worlds quarterfinal is insane, especially when a lost fight here could mean an entirely lost series. Now onto the ever volatile Atakan. But did T1 know that their 5 AL are just there?
They are going to walk forward. They are going to see the Otacon started. They're bringing in the teleport. AL have to send some sort of a Hail Mary play here. Tarzan jumps in, only finds Doran. Carrier looking for the Pop Blossom. He only finds it onto Kyle. The Ornhorn flies through and Hope is already down. T1 have found their marks, and they want even more. Owner is smashed by Flandra in the Rift Herald pit here at the same time as Faker stays alive, and they cannot quite do it. Finally, they get the shutdown. AL's winning the fight. T1 may have overplayed. They may have overstayed. AL find their way back into the game.
Now, despite that pretty severe loss and conceding Atakan, T1 still maintained the gold lead somehow. Starting off Baron in the first 45 seconds of its spawn, AL looked to collapse, but noticing they're coming from all directions and split, T1 group and fight as one.
This is going to be a turn from T1. Watch out for the engage.
Yep, keep your eyes on Carrier specifically here with the Nico. Teleport coming in from the AL side. Also T1 ready to reinforce. Ornhorn sounds off. Doran goes in. They're going to knock up Kyle here at the very start, but into the back line. T1, Faker under pressure. The burst over the mid laner. They found him, but Hope is also already down. Shanks next to die. The Arcane Storm is a Typhoon, but AL is fighting back. More damage to Gumayushi. Flandra wants him. Flandra can't find him. The mace will not connect over the wall. And now Tarzan goes on a killing spree. AL are winning another fight. Doran locked up. He gets away with a teleport to stay alive.
With both teams contesting mid-push for Baron, Guma heads off to Drake on his own. But something T1 do really well is stay together and focus down one target, and the immobile Flandre is in their sights.
But doesn't chunk him super low. T1 takes the Drake, and now they're ready for the 5v5. Doran summons up the Ornhorn. They're going in after Flandra. They want to focus the Mordekaiser. They've got him locked up in the CC, and Faker strikes him down. AL have lost their strongest player. Tarzan whips the Impale, and Owner continues moving forward.
With Baron still not taken, the action is all still in mid. So let's try that again, shall we?
Gonna pull off the Baron. They do not want to allow it to get low enough for Tarzan to try to steal. Doran jumps in, knocks Kyle up into the air. Shanks going in after Carrier, wants to stop him. Ornhorn through the middle of the fight, and once again Flandra's gonna get focused, but he is not dead. Big impale from Tarzan. A lot of damage comes through. Carrier dies before the Pop Blossom. Flandra in a little bit of trouble now, but he's still fighting. The shield keeps him alive, but T1 is too strong. AL running now. They've lost 2. T1 have only lost their support. It's both supports down. Flandra, the extra man dead, means T1 win the fight.
Yeah, they melt the front line. Shanks is actually creeping around, but there's not much he can get. He's looking for an angle onto Guma.
If he can find Gumayushi, that's the angle. That's the only way to win it, and there he goes! Shanks with the hero play as Hope tries to escape from Doran, but the Bellows breath takes him down. Tarzan wants to get away from Owner, from Faker. He can't quite get there. He's feared up. Shanks nearly kills off Owner, but a beautiful spell shield keeps him alive. Shanks is trapped inside the gravity field, and Faker takes him down. Tarzan on the run. He's the only one left alive from the original fight. Kyle has finally respawned. Faker and Doran are going to continue the chase now. If they can get a delayed kill on this jungler, they can almost guarantee themselves either a soul or a Baron, and that's exactly what they're doing. Tarzan will not be allowed to dig through the wall. The Arcane Storm.
With that very lengthy fight and subsequent victory, T1 pick up Baron and Mountain Soul, posing a very big problem for Shanks. Holy Guma Kaiser, as if Nocturne Engage wasn't enough, Guma just does it himself with the follow-up of his support, and we're going to Game 5.
Continues playing the point man here for the T1 side as another wave crashes into the tier 3 turret. A little bit more damage onto Tarzan, but it's not a lot. They don't need a lot, they just need time to chip away at these tier 3s. Doran with a Bellows Breath to get through the claw. Flandra loses half his HP. The Mordekaiser's gonna be your target. Here goes the Ornhorn. They knock Flandra up into the air, but again, nobody under serious threat. Tarzan with an impale onto one, but he's about to die. He flashes away. Guma flashes in. Carrier with a 3-man Pop Blossom will seal the fate of anyone's legend. Guma with a triple. Guma with a quadra. Only Flandra stands. Gumayushi finally dies, but AL will die with him. T1 will not go quietly.
Now you'd think being Game 5 you'd be really nervous, so therefore a slower game. Nope. An early gank turns into first blood.
Bottling that might be in trouble.
Yeah, Gumayusi and Keria having to back away. The zap does not connect on Gumayusi. Tarzan down here in the bottom lane. Guma wants first blood on the Kyle. It's going to be secured by Keria. A 1-for-1.
Moving forward to 12 minutes, T1 take themselves the first couple of dragons uncontested. But I guess it's not really uncontested if AL just does this straight after.
So much of this split. Oh, Tarzan though.
Tarzan with the Arctic Assault trying to get back into it now. Shanks could be the one under pressure, wants to fire back into the T1 lines. Owner flashing away, staying alive, but there's the Glacial Prison. Only connects under the tank, but Flandra's arrived into the fight. They fight too! Anyone's Legend got exactly what they were looking for. Faker at least gets one back, but he falls as well.
With their main win con at this point being Dragon Soul, T1 take mid push and enter the river. But with Jinx AL's fight condition, their main hope is reset on reset. But will a comp with as much utility as T1 even allow that?
But he's going to go ahead and decide to teleport now to join up with the rest of the team. The Rift Herald is summoned up mid. Flandra separated from the rest of AL, and there's chunks of the AL health bars. T1 staying mostly grouped up. Keep your eyes on Keria over the wall. The arrow collides, but it's only on to Shanks, and he's at a safe distance, so no real value there. Redemption coming in. Seraphine ulti, no value. Owner's going to be in some danger as immediately Tarzan jumps in the middle of everyone and has to try to flash away. Flandra on the flank. Drake owned now by T1. They will force AL back and they will earn themselves soul points.
With Tarzan getting caught, this fight actually looks to be heavily off to the T1 side. But one thing that really comes through here is the Atakan debuff, which AL make good use of, and we see another really close fight.
TP ready to arrive from the T1 side. Atakan loses his patience. AL have to be a bit careful. Flandra here on the side. He's going to find Doran, who finds him, as now the Solar Snare finds Tarzan, and T1 are moving forward. They charm up the enemy jungler. Tarzan's already down, but Doran dies. Hope is excited, but where's the rest of the fight? Keria tries to get away. Gumayusi right beside him. Flandra here on the front line as Owner's going to be chopped up. The Mundo dies. Hope's on a killing spree. Flandra going forward, but Faker takes him out. Hope, Shanks, and Kyle trying to get away. Guma, Keria, and Faker stepping forward. The Otacon, it's impatient, but it's so close to dead. It is stolen away by Faker himself.
Mel wins those every time.
Now, as close as this game has been so far, this fight is for Hextech Soul, arguably the strongest soul in the game. If AL fail to stop this, I don't see how you deal with a Hextech Soul Ashe.
These fights, Flandra off to the side, is going to be seen there by the ward, jumps over the wall, there with the Umbral Dash. T1 taking a little bit of poke here, scatter the weak, no target found. Shanks still looking for a little bit more opportunity there. Owner losing about 1,000 HP here so far, but he is the Mundo, has plenty to work with. More zaps fired through. T1, they have the dragon down to 2/3 HP. AL continuing to step forward. Gumayusi trying to stay very far back, goes for the arrow. He finds it on Shanks. AL's mid laner is under pressure, but he gets away for now. Doran creating space. Dragon at 40%. Tarzan still nearby, but so is Owner. Dragon losing patience. Flandra's World Ender is about to expire. Doran still here on the front line. Hit with the Q1 of Flandra. Owner at about half HP. Shanks looking for a little bit more. Dragon at 2K. Glacial Prison fired out, but it's claimed the soul for T1, but Owner has already died. AL have got to find more unless they want to lose the game here. Doran takes a ton of burst. Scatter the weak, the damage from the unleashed power. Shanks has another kill, and Tarzan is chasing after Faker. He gets the smite for the slow. They're gonna find another kill, but it's Hextech Soul for T1.
With Baron on the map, there is a 3,000 gold skew for AL, but one thing money can't buy is Hextech Soul in the pocket of T1, and these fights are still knife's edge close.
From AL after.
Still, I like this from AL. See if they can find those picks. See if they can play off a vision. That's some damage onto Owner.
Yeah, they're going to commit onto the Dr. Mundo. Shanks has killed him. Owner is dead. You want to talk about clutch moments? There you go. Tarzan and Flandra going forward. Faker's going to be caught. So much damage from AL. Faker about to die. Shanks in a rampage. Anyone's Legend. 2 huge kills.
The soul is not enough when the heart of the LPL is with anyone's Legend. They will move over towards the Baron as Shanghai erupts.
Doran, Keria again, Gumayusi, 3v5, if nothing else. They need to stop the Baron from going over to AL right now. Shanks on the side, no ulti available for the Syndra here just yet. Tarzan over the wall, wants to go in after Keria. Infernal Chains are going to connect. This Seraphine is down. Tarzan is traded, but Doran has died too. It's Gumayusi against anyone's legend as he tries to kite and fight, but he's stunned. Good night, but kill for Shanks. AL delayed ace.
Now, what you're about to watch is the best fight of Worlds so far, hands down. I have no further commentary, just watch this masterful display of clicking buttons.
Here for the fight. Red buff secured. Elder Drake started, but so slowly. Flandra gonna move forward, try to clear away the control ward. They're going in after the Aatrox. They set him up with the arrow. Flandra has been caught at a critical moment. Over the wall goes Tarzan. Wild Growth coming in from Kael. Guardian Angel will bring Flandra back, but where is the damage on AL's side? Doran into the back line. Kael is already down. Doran killed in response. T1 pushing forward. Shanks the next kill. Hope trying to kite. He needs to get away because T1 have won the fight 2-1.
Flandra is trying to reset and teleport back in. He's trying to link up with the team. The minions are here. They need to turn it. That's the teleport.
Okay, T1, they've got to understand this Aatrox is probably their target. Flandra arrives. Solar Snare looking to lock him up. Owner taking a ton of damage. Hope is excited. Flandra's got the kill. Solar Snare on Hope, but it's not going to do any more. Flandra's going to try to get away. Goes back in here for the Q1. Tarzan wants to engage on the Gumayusi, but he cannot find him. Flandra over the wall. Wants Faker. Can't get the damage. Hope can't do it either. Gumayusi's still alive. T1 out team fight anyone's legend.
With that fight, T1 take Elder and Baron on the back of Atakan and Dragon Soul, before beginning the siege onto AL's base. But one reset for Hope could still be the flickering fire for AL that T1 need to extinguish.
About 20 seconds or so left here on this buff. The next wave about to arrive, and you know T1 are going to force their way in for a second lane of super minions. Doran guiding the top lane minions up now as well as the second inhibitor falls, and T1 are looking for the end of the game. The Elder's got 15 seconds left on it. T1 guiding the Baroned up minions toward the Nexus turrets. Solar Snare not hitting a target. Flandra and the rest of AL scrambling to try to defend. Nexus turret's down to about half HP. Owner takes some burst. Tarzan takes more. T1 looking for the engage. They found Flandra, but he gets away. Half HP on the front line of AL. T1.
Just an amazing series to kick off the finals. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did, and it gets you amped for semis. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.